In a world saturated with information, how do some individuals consistently see through the noise when so many others are swayed by popular opinion? Today, we explore why smart people often don't fall for what everyone else believes. It's not about contrarianism, it's about a deeper mode of perception. The truth doesn't always announce itself, lies do. They often come packaged in bold assertions and amplified voices. Consider this: the loudest voice isn't necessarily the most accurate. It's often the most rehearsed, the most insistent. Smart people, in many instances, are not primarily swayed by the volume or the repetition of a message. Instead, they are often listeners of the silence between words, readers of unspoken energy, and observers of what is conspicuously absent. They engage more senses than just their hearing when processing information. This allows them to perceive nuances that are lost on those who only listen to the surface-level narrative. So, let me ask you, have you ever felt something deep down was off, even when everyone else readily believed it? That feeling, that subtle internal dissonance, is where our exploration begins. So why don't smart people readily fall for mass beliefs? It's because they are pattern recognizers, not mere fact collectors. While facts are crucial, smart individuals know information can be presented selectively or out of context to create a desired impression. They possess heightened awareness of dark psychology, the subtle, unconscious tactics used to influence thoughts and behaviors. They detect emotional manipulation where others see passion, and identify manufactured narratives designed to evoke specific responses, like fear or outrage. This manipulation awareness isn't cynicism. It's truly keen observation, a key aspect of their emotional intelligence. They notice over-explaining, a common sign of deception, or undue urgent persuasion, pushing for a decision before consideration. Think of viral news where consensus forms too quickly, or sales tactics relying on scarcity. Smart people often recognize the playbook. On social media, they see how algorithms and campaigns create artificial agreement. They opted out early from trends or beliefs later proven misguided, not because they had more facts initially, but because the persuasion pattern felt familiar, coercive. Their discernment flags these inconsistencies. They understand that consensus can be engineered, and popularity is not a proxy for truth. Beyond pattern recognition lies the invisible skill of emotional sensing, a profound aspect setting smart thinkers apart. This isn't about being overly emotional. Rather, it's a finely tuned ability to perceive subtle emotional cues and atmospheric dissonances. One critical area this skill shines is recognizing gaslighting. Gaslighting is a manipulative tactic where an individual or group tries to make someone doubt their memory, perception, or sanity. Smart people may not immediately have proof to counter gaslighting, but they intuitively feel the discrepancy. There's a nagging sense that what they're being told doesn't align with their internal experience or previous observations. This internal alarm system is crucial. Furthermore, smart individuals tend to establish and maintain strong mental and emotional boundaries. These boundaries aren't walls to shut others out, but filters protecting their inner world from undue influence and emotional contagion. They don't easily absorb crowd anxieties or beliefs. This self-possession allows them to evaluate situations more objectively, developing stronger emotional intelligence. The core message here is profound. Smart people don't wait for permission to feel what's off. Their feelings are valid data points. You might begin to notice. Your body knew before your mind could explain it. This precognitive awareness is an incredibly powerful defense. Smart people understand communication is multi-layered. They don't just listen to words spoken, they scan the entire communicative landscape. This involves decoding hidden messages, often conveyed non-verbally or through what's deliberately omitted. Recognizing red flags in communication is a key skill. They understand what's not said is often louder than what is. For instance, consistent over-clarification on trivial points while glossing over significant ones can be a signal. Dodged questions, where a direct answer is avoided or replaced with deflection, raise suspicion. Energy mismatches are another crucial indicator. When someone's words convey enthusiasm, but their body language or vocal tone suggests disinterest or anxiety. These subtle incongruities don't escape their notice. They adeptly sense when a narrative is carefully managed or when there's an underlying agenda not openly stated. This isn't paranoia, it's astute observation developed through experience and commitment to seeing beyond the surface. Think back to a conversation that made you uneasy. Even if you couldn't pinpoint why, then that was your signal, your perceptive abilities at work, identifying discrepancies the conscious mind hadn't yet processed. This ability to decode is a facet of advanced critical thinking skills. At the heart of why smart individuals resist common fallacies is their capacity for systems thinking, a stark contrast to groupthink. Groupthink thrives on conformity, discouraging independent analysis. Systems thinking, however, encourages a holistic view. Instead of isolated events or headlines, smart people look for connections, patterns, and underlying structures. They ask, what are the root causes? Who benefits? What are the long-term consequences? This approach allows them to see the bigger picture, recognizing how different elements interact, a skill often underdeveloped in those swayed by immediate popular opinion. It is a crucial cornerstone of advanced critical thinking skills. This is particularly evident in their engagement with media. Media bias is complex, but smart people identify it. They question story framing, scrutinize sources, and consider unspoken intentions. They know news is often a constructed reality. They don't just passively consume information, they actively interpret it. They aren't content being spoon-fed narratives. Instead, they read between the lines, dissecting subtext. This active interpretation, this innate discernment, means they're not just accepting information. They are meticulously decoding it, demonstrating superior critical thinking skills in action. You don't just consume the world, you decode it. Many are taught to dismiss intuition as unreliable or mystical. However, for smart individuals, trusting intuition is an act of precision. Their intuition isn't random guesswork. It's a highly evolved form of data analysis, processed subconsciously from a vast array of past experiences, observations, and subtle cues the conscious mind might overlook. Intuition in decision-making for them is not a leap of faith, but a sophisticated cognitive tool. When faced with a complex situation or a persuasive argument that feels off, this intuitive sense kicks in. Your unease isn't confusion, it's clarity without language. This powerful understanding allows them to honor those internal nudges. They recognize that a feeling of distrust or skepticism, even without immediate concrete evidence, is valuable information. You weren't paranoid, you were accurate before it was explainable. This reframe is crucial. It shifts the perception of these gut feelings from a source of doubt into a wellspring of power. By valuing their intuition, they access a far deeper layer of understanding, often leading to wiser choices than those relying solely on explicit, presented facts. This refined intuition is a mark of high emotional intelligence. Recognizing these traits within yourself can be empowering. If you've often felt like an outsider for not immediately jumping on bandwagons or for sensing undercurrents others missed, it's time to reframe that experience. What if the reason you sometimes feel out of sync isn't a flaw, but a strength? What if you're not at peace because you've been trained to doubt your truth? Consider that possibility. The constant pressure to conform can make internal alignment feel like rebellion. But what if your internal compass is simply more finely tuned? The call here isn't to become cynical or distrustful of everything, but to trust your own signal more profoundly. Stop outsourcing your certainty to the crowd or to the loudest voice. Begin speaking your version of truth, not to convince others, but to free yourself. This internal liberation is the first step. The more clearly you see the world, the harder it becomes to stay quiet. Your unique perspective has value, precisely because it may differ from the prevailing narrative. Embrace your capacity for independent thought and critical thinking skills. This journey of recognizing and trusting your inner discernment leads to profound emotional resolution and identity shift. You transition from being a passive observer of the world, perhaps silently questioning but hesitant to voice doubts, into an active interpreter. You see the underlying mechanics of belief systems, influence, and social dynamics. More than that, you shift from being a silent knower, holding insights privately, into potentially an expressive guide, someone who can articulate these observations, not to boast, but to offer a different perspective. It's an empowering transformation. The core message to internalize: you've always had this ability. You were just taught to ignore it. Society often conditions us to seek external validation, to doubt our perceptions if they deviate from the norm. But this inherent capacity for discernment, for seeing through a facade, has always been an intrinsic part of your cognitive toolkit. It's not acquiring a new skill, but reclaiming a dormant one that strengthens your emotional intelligence. Now, maybe it's time the world hears from you. This isn't a call to arms, but an invitation to authenticity and courageous expression. As we conclude, take a moment for a closing reflection. This ability to see beyond the surface, to question, to sense, and to understand complex systems is not just an intellectual exercise. It's a way of being that can lead to deeper truths and more authentic living. It's about cultivating your critical thinking skills and emotional intelligence. The world is complex, and those who can navigate its intricacies with discernment offer an invaluable perspective. So, I leave you with this question. What truth have you been quietly holding that the world might finally be ready to hear from you? Consider the insights you've gathered, the patterns you've noticed, the dissonances you've felt. Perhaps these weren't meant to remain solely as internal observations. Maybe the truth you've been carrying was never meant to stay hidden. Thank you for joining this exploration. If you've ever experienced that moment of knowing something was off before others did, share your experience in the comments below. We'd love to hear it, and if you're someone who sees the truth between the lines, you belong here. Subscribe for more content that empowers independent thought.